Welcome to video lesson 8.1 on the volumes of cylinders. Okay, so in this lesson we're going to review what the volume is of a cylinder and the formula for how to find it, and then utilize it to find volumes of cylinders, and also given the volume and the base of a cylinder to find the height of a cylinder. Alright, so the volume of a cylinder, the formula for it, is the product of the area of the base and the height of the cylinder. Okay? So remember again, volume tells us how much space a figure occupies. So how much space this solid occupies is the volume of it. And when we're dealing with cylinders, we have the area of the base. So in the case of a cylinder, the base is a circle. Okay, and we just reviewed yesterday how to find the area of a circle is radius squared times pi. So the area, the big B, stands for the area of the base. Okay, and since the base is a circle, okay, we could replace this big B with radius squared times pi. Okay, and that's what it's telling us down here. Okay, so you can remember the volume of a cylinder is area of the base times the height of the whole cylinder. So that's what this little h is, the height of the whole cylinder. Okay, or you could remember it as the volume is pi times the radius squared times height, because the pi times radius squared is how you're going to find the area of the base. So that big B doesn't mean anything if you don't understand what it means. It's not just the base or the diameter or the radius, it's the radius of the base squared times pi, and then to get the volume you multiply that by the height, and that will tell you the volume of that whole shape. And remember, volume we're going to label with cubic units, the little 3. All right, so let's go ahead and do an example here with a cylinder. Okay, we're given that the radius of the base, okay, is 3. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, volume equals area of the base times the height. Okay, so the volume, to find the area of the base now, we're going to do radius squared times pi times the height. Okay, so the radius is 3 squared times pi times the height, and we know the height, okay, is 6. So that's going to be 3 squared times pi times 6, which equals 9 times pi times 6. Now 9 times 6 is 54, so the most exact answer would be 54 pi. We're going to approximate that to the nearest tenth, because that's what it asked us to do. And 54 times pi, we can either use a pi button or a calculator, or 3.14, okay, or 22/7. And if we use the pi button on our calculator, we're going to get 169.6. Okay, and that'll be cubic meters. So we need the little 3. We're not doing area now, we're doing volume, so we need the little 3. All right, now we're given the volume of the cylinder and we have to find the height. Okay, so we're still going to write the formula. Okay, volume equals area of the base times the height. Okay, I can color code it here. So now the volume is 314 cubic inches. That equals the area of the base. Now we don't know the area of the base, but we know the area of the base is radius squared times pi, okay, times height. So we can replace the diameter is 10. So the radius is half of that, which is 5 inches. Okay, so we know the radius is 5 squared times pi times the height, and that equals our volume of 314. Let's simplify. 5 squared is 25 pi, okay, times the height, and that equals 3.14. So we're going to divide by 25, okay, pi, and 314 divided by 25 pi, okay, and that equals written on the calculator here, sorry. About 4. Okay? So 314 divided by 25 pi is approximately 4. Okay? And now what are we going to label the height? It will be 4 inches. Okay? Doesn't come out exactly. It comes out to 3.99797217. Okay? But we'll approximate the height to, since it wanted to the nearest whole number, to 4 inches. Okay? Now, it's asking us kind of a real-life example, so we want to know how much salsa is actually missing from the jar. Okay? Now, the jar is in the shape of a cylinder. Okay, we know that much. And we want to first know, because they want to know how much salsa is missing. So we don't need to find the volume of the whole jar. We just need to find the volume of the part that's missing. Okay? And the part that's missing, okay, it looks like it's 4 centimeters up from the bottom, and the whole length of this is 10. So to find the empty height of the cylinder, we're going to take 10 minus 4, which equals 6 centimeters. So that's the empty part. Okay? So the empty height is 6 centimeters. Okay? Now again, we need the formula for the volume of a cylinder is area of the base times the height. Okay? Now the area of the base, you can write pi times radius squared or radius squared times pi. Okay, either way. And we can rewrite it like that as well. Now we're going to substitute in what we know. We don't know the volume yet. Okay? We know the radius is 5 centimeters, and we know the height of the empty part is 6 centimeters. We just figured that out. So the volume equals pi times 5 squared times 6. Okay, now simplify. 5 squared is 25 times 6. Volume equals pi 25 times 6. Okay, is 150. So the volume is approximately 150 times pi, and we're going to round this to the nearest tenth. We might as well. Okay, and it's approximately 471.2 cubic centimeters. Okay, so 471.2, excuse me, cubic centimeters is how much salsa is missing from the jar. So that's how much salsa we already ate or used or threw out, who knows. Okay, but that's how much salsa is gone. All right, and our last real-life example says, how many gallons of water does the water cooler bottle contain? And they're telling us that 1 cubic foot is approximately 7.5 gallons, because you can see the measurements here are in feet. Okay, so we need to know that the volume is the area of the base times the height, or pi times radius squared times the height. Okay, we don't know the volume yet. We know the height is 1.7 feet. And we know the radius is half of 1, so 0.5 feet, okay, or 1/2. So substitute this in. We have pi times 0.5 squared times 1.7. Okay, so 0.5 squared, remember, is 0.25 times 1.7, and that equals pi times 0.425. Okay, and then if we do that actual multiplication, we're getting a volume of approximately 1.3352. We'll go to the nearest 10,000ths cubic feet. Now we need to convert that, use this conversion that they give us to gallons. So if this is what we have in 1 foot, so we know that 7.5 gallons equals 1 cubic foot. Okay, we'll multiply that to give us how many gallons. Okay, so multiply across that times 7.5 gallons divided by 1, and we're going to go, it says how many gallons, so we're just going to round to the nearest gallon, and that's approximately 10 gallons then. Okay. All right, you have 3 practice problems to do. Remember, the volume of a cylinder is area of the base, radius squared times pi, times the height of the whole cylinder, okay? In 1, you're trying to find the volume. In 2, you're trying to find the height. And in 3, you're trying to find how many gallons would fit in that water tower. It's very similar to example 4. All right? If you have questions, please make sure you write them down. I'll be happy to help you tomorrow. Have a great night.